Man, thank goodness.
Welcome to the HEX Late Show. It's 43 OG here with you. We've had some technical difficulties, but we are the HEX Late Show, so we're always going to be late to start, just for you guys in the chat. Welcome to everyone. I'm going to welcome Jexa. How are you, sir?
Hey, matey. How you going?
Good, thanks, mate. How are you?
Good. Yeah, travelling well.
That's good, mate. I thought you weren't going to make it. Stuck in traffic.
I was stuck in traffic. I was running my daughter around to beaches and dropping off friends and all sorts of things. So, but managed to survive the peak hour and got back in time.
Perfect, mate. Well, thanks for joining us. And we've got Hex Tangent here. How are you, sir?
Yo, yeah, I'm well. I can't believe Jexa beat me to the stream.
And
you'll probably
messages about you being late.
You're probably still taking your tiger suit off, mate.
Sometimes we do go that far into the week.
Dude, I think Tangent. I think you get most engagement when it's got like videos from you partying. That is like the most engagement.
I agree. Yeah, I think I get the easiest high like count.
I don't know why.
Pictures of...
Can't figure it out.
So we're the HEX Late Show. We like to talk about decentralized finance, DeFi, and we like to talk about the HEX contract, which is a DeFi contract on the Ethereum network. And I have a guest here tonight. Let me bring him up. He's sort of like, he comes on every now and then. When he's not,
this is a surprise to me.
He comes on every now and then when he's not, working his butt off. Let me just bring him up, Mr. Mayo.
Yo. Hey, Mayo.
What's up,
buddy? Hey, team.
How you going, mate?
I'm good. Finally got some days off, so here I am.
Nice.
Nice.
There's
I think
something.
it'd be safe to say. I was going to say it'd be safe to say you're one of the hardest working hexagons, both on the tools, but working for HEX as well, all the things you're putting together in the background?
I don't know.
Yeah. I'm putting it out there, mate. I think you're up there.
Humble man. Humble man.
Yeah.
So
that's just me, I guess, just grinding.
The reason you decided to come on tonight, Mayo, is because there's a fight happening on the weekend. It's a Rise Championship fight. Do you want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so I'm sure if everyone's been following, we've done the sponsorship with Jake Lund. Well, it's been earlier in the year. And he's had the distraction. Yeah, so with the Discord Syndicate sponsored Jake, he's become a hexagon. We've had a couple of fights and we pushed and pushed all year to go for this diamond belt, and we've got it. So this is what's happening this weekend. Jake Lund versus George Mann for the WBC diamond belt, which is basically the accolade of Muay Thai under WBC. So it's a big deal.
Yep.
Took a bit to get here, but we got here.
And we
Yeah,
have
a lot of work going on behind the scenes, but
we actually have a special guest from Rise Championship. His name's Andrew. We're going to bring him up now. Andrew, how are you, sir?
hey mate,
Hey guys, how you going?
hey mate, how are you?
Well, mate, nice to meet you.
Very good.
Thanks for having me on.
Yeah,
So,
sure.
can you, like, we love the idea of a Hexagon fighter by the name of Jake Lund fighting for a diamond belt, and I'll tell you the significance of that for hexagons and people who like to hold on to their crypto long term, and that is that we have this sort of meme in the crypto ecosystem, which is diamond hands, where no matter what, you just like you're hanging on to your crypto. You don't sell, like you don't get pushed around by what's happening in the market. You just hang on to your crypto, and so it's very fitting that Jake Lund, a hexagon, is going to be fighting for a diamond belt with Rise Championship on the weekend. Can you tell us a bit about what goes into what's gone into that, pulling that together?
Yeah, so this was a goal of ours from the start of the year. Jake Lund's fought on our promotion before. He's won our Rise Australian national title, which is just our own promotional belt. But our show is fully sanctioned by the WBC, so we send fighters down the path of winning and competing for WBC titles. For those that don't know, the WBC is probably the highest ranking sanctioning body in Muay Thai, even in boxing as well. Fighters like Tyson Fury and stuff like that, they all fight for WBC titles. So it's a very prestigious sanction, which is why we decided to go with that, building up the Rise brand. The Diamond title came about. We're kind of lucky because with Jake having won WBC state titles, national titles, international titles, and a world title, he qualifies to compete for a diamond title. Now, the diamond title, to compete for that, you must be a former WBC world champion. So it's very rare to get two active fighters at the same time in the same weight division that have both been world champions, and somehow the stars align and they can fight for this diamond title. So to show you how rare it is, in the history of WBC, only 7 fighters have ever won the diamond belt. So no one ever in Australia has fought for it. The belt has never come to Australia. So Jake could possibly be the first Australian to ever win it. His opponent is George Mann. He's from Scotland, but he's based in Perth, WA. So he's been here for the last 5 or 6 years. So some consider him, a bit of an Australian fighter, I guess. But yeah, he is fighting out of Scotland, but based in Perth, WA. So if he wins it, technically a Scotsman will win it. But yeah, Jake could be the first Australian to ever do it. So,
and
big things.
Can you tell us what's different about the diamond belt as opposed to another title fight? Like what is
so? Basically, all the WBC titles go in rankings. Obviously, state title being the lowest of the ranking belts. You then move on to a national, which is the national title for your country. The next step is an international, which is once you've become national champion of your country, you can fight, say, someone from Australia fights someone from Brazil. It'll be sort of an international matchup. Once you then have won an international title, you'll be eligible for a world title. World title speaks for itself. It's 2 best in the world. And then, like I said earlier, the diamond belt is very special because it's very rare a current world champion he'll have no opponents to face that have been former world champions. So it's very rare that Jake's still active. He was the former world champ, vacated the belt. He never lost it. George has won the world title this year, and he's already defended it once. So he's a 2-time WBC world champ, and now, it is still a world title. It's called a Diamond World title. So it's just a special one that occurs. Yeah, in the last 20 years, it's happened 7 times. So very, very rare.
So that's that would mean that so there's no defending this diamond belt. You win it.
No, it's not
or you
defendable.
lose,
No.
and you can't defend it. It's like it's a
Not
one-off
defendable.
opportunity, really, isn't it?
Yes,
So that makes it pretty unique. Pretty
it's
unique.
a one shot. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's actually the first one at this weight class too. I'm pretty sure.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Never fought for in the light heavyweight division, so it's another first as well. And the list of fighters that have won it make it very special as well. If you're in the Muay Thai community, you'll have fighters like Sanchao, Borkai, Sanchai. Them guys are the top of top. So to add your name to the list with fighters like them is special as well.
So have the two guys ever come face to face either before, or this is it?
No.
The first time. Yep. Cool.
So they both competed against similar opposition. George has actually beaten the last opponent to beat Jake, which was Charlie Bubb. So fighter math doesn't usually add up like that, but George is definitely he's fought the who's who. His
With the
last
Charlie
5
Bubb
fights
thing,
were-
remember Jake and Charlie are 1 each. So they're
one
both
each,
the
yes,
same.
they are
Alright.
corrected.
Yep.
Yeah, they are 1 each. Jake's last defeat was to Charlie. George got the win there. But yeah, it's going to be very, very tough fight for either guy. I can't pick who it will be.
Yeah, I mean the Hexagon crew have been following Jake over his last few fights, and he's been pretty impressive. You think this is going to be his biggest test to date over the last 12 months?
Definitely.
100%.
Definitely over the last 12 months, for sure. Jake's fought some top names in the division, like Charlie Kompechlek, but he won for the world title. But yeah, George will definitely be his toughest opponent, for sure.
So are we going to see any HEX logos in and around that fight, Andrew?
Yes. So we can have we generally have our signage around the ring, and our HEX signage will be on the main event fight shorts. It will also be on our live stream. So anyone viewing the event, the HEX logo will be on the main event, and it will also be just cycling throughout the night at different times. So
Don't
plenty
forget
of
the ring girls.
HEX viewing.
Yeah, I was going to say that most importantly, have the ring girls.
Yeah.
And the ring girls. They're kitted out.
Boys'
in HEX.
favourite, isn't it?
Hard not to
We
like
also
that.
have our George Mann versus Jake Lund supporter tees. They're for sale at the venue and on our website. They've got the HEX logo on the back of them as well.
Cool.
Nice.
How many people were you expecting through the doors for such an event?
We're expecting the capacity holds 1,500. Plus, we have another 130 seated on the tables ringside, and we're going to be close to getting that done. So that'll be good.
Yep. And for anyone that wants to watch it that can't be there in person, what options have you got?
So we have a live stream. It's hosted through Live Combat Sports, and it's available on our website. It's easy to find, risechampionship.com.au. Jump on there and, just follow the links to watch live.
Sounds good. So that was
the main card. The fight card will be starting at 6 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. I assume Jake and George will be on approximately around 10:30 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time.
Very good.
Just
Depending
doing
on
a
what
bit
People
of
tuning in.
Yeah, there's a lot of big fights on this night, isn't there? You got the 4-man eliminator, which is always a
Yeah, we've got a huge card on. Yeah.
and you got some internationals coming over.
Yep. Yeah, we've got 2 tires on the card. We've got Orono, who's had over 400 fights. He's our co-main event, fighting Josh McCulloch. He's a young up-and-comer. He's on a 18-fight win streak. He's hot property, that kid. So that's going to be a really good fight.
Go back to the guy that's had 400 fights. That's a fairly impressive career.
Just over 400, and he's had 350 wins. So good racket.
How long
for
has he
him.
been fighting for to rack up that many fights?
Oh, his whole life.
That's a machine.
That's the tie, isn't it? That's the tie. Yeah.
Yeah. The ties are very different. They'll fight every weekend over there. Every fortnight for many years. So
I've done a bit of research on George too, and he's for anyone that wants to learn a bit more about Jake or George, they've both done a podcast on Three Kings podcast where they sort of delve into themselves and about this fight prep. And George actually started when he was 7 or 8 years old.
Yeah.
So that just gives you a bit of an idea how long.
Yeah, well, George, he puts his pro record up. It's about 47 fights, I believe. But he doesn't include his amateur career. He's lost count. He said it's over 100 fights. So,
Andrew, can I ask if someone wants to go watch it on risechampionship.com.au/watch-live, what's the price of the pay-per-view?
the pay-per-view is 35 Australian dollars.
Nice. Very, very good.
That'll include the entire card, so 15 fights, the full undercard, and the main card. If you can't be there to watch it on the spot, you can purchase it and you can replay it when you're free to watch it.
What time does the prelims start, and when's the main card?
6 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time for the prelims. Main card, I'm assuming will start around 8:30, 9 o'clock Australian Eastern Standard Time. I'm hoping Jake and George are on around that 10:30 mark.
Right. Okay, so that's 8:30 is about what is it? 9:30 a.m. UTC for anyone in Europe who's watching and wants to check it out. So it's 9:30 in the morning UTC time. So you can tune in and check it out. So we're very excited. We love seeing the HEX logo everywhere. We're excited by the fact that Jake is a Hexican. We actually hope that even his opponent becomes a Hexican once he sees all the logos. And Andrew, are you a Hexican?
I am not.
Come on, Mayo. What are you doing over there, buddy?
We'll change that. We'll change that real quick.
Andrew, you should be a
Sign
Hexican.
me up.
Buddy.
I don't know anything about crypto. Sign me up.
We're going to get onto that. Aren't we, mate?
My buddy, though, from Three Kings podcast, Mayo did a show with him. Mayo converted him. He is a Hexican, so he's doing his job.
So
they're learning.
So the DS boys have been working pretty closely with you guys in terms of sponsorships and things like that over not just this fight, but the previous one as well. What's your plans moving forward, mate? Where do you want to see Rise go and where you planning?
We want to start moving interstate, getting bigger around Australia. This will be our 4th show, so we're fairly new, but to put this caliber of fight on so early speaks for itself in what we've been doing. But yeah, we do want to start hopping around Australia, putting some shows on in Sydney, Melbourne, see how this fight goes. If it's very close, I'd love to run it back in WA, in George's hometown. So that's my next goals for that, and basically building the online viewing of it as well. I'd like to get the live stream happening because that's where you get most of your eyes on it.
Yeah, I can't believe no one's picked this up to air it on TV.
Yeah, I I was just going to say we've been hitting them up in Twitter and tagging them in things, and yeah, I think you've just got to get.
Yeah, I've been banging into walls getting it broadcasted on TV here. Even getting it in the news is just dead end after dead end. It's quite frustrating because, like, Foxtel, for example, will play boxing every Wednesday night, and the caliber of fights, no offense to the fighters, they're just not the level that we're putting on.
They're rubbish.
They shouldn't, we're putting this out there and it's not getting seen by the mainstream. So it's frustrating, but apart from blowing through the front door of Channel 10 or whatever, I don't know what I can do.
Yeah. I know a bloke that's pretty good at outrage marketing. He might be able to help you.
Yep. Yeah, I've been past numerous contacts for people at different stations and just get nowhere with it. So, but we'll get there once they see.
Keep trying, we'll get there.
It seems to be the way you get attention for these sorts of things. There's got to be like controversy and like
yes,
you can see why they all do it. They've got to drum it all up and get the build
most
up.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, the thing with George and Jake is they're both quite humble.
Yeah, they're not gonna
say stuff or bag each other out. You know what I mean? They just do their own thing, and it just whatever happens.
Yeah.
Which is,
but if anyone hasn't seen,
I think as well, it's very respectful. So,
if anyone hasn't seen Jake Lund fight, he's an absolute technician. His last couple of fights, he's really just put on amazing shows. So I'm really looking forward to this fight on Saturday night, and I can't wait to see Jake. Sorry, George, I can't wait to see Jake Smasher.
We're a bit torn. I didn't realise he was a West Australian, George. So we're a bit torn now.
Well, he's actually Scottish, but he's moved to Australia and he's based there now. So he's over in Tangent territory, isn't he?
Yeah, he's over our way. Yep.
Yeah.
So
it's a hard one.
What's the structure of the fight? Is it how many rounds are we talking? How many minutes?
Yeah, 5 rounds over 3 minutes. 2-minute break between each round. That's the maximum fighting time for Muay Thai. So it's the big one. There will be definitely be carnage in that amount of time. Yep.
No, it's a pretty explosive sport, isn't it?
Yes. Jake, especially with his elbows, they're very very on point and hard hitting. So he's cut a lot of people open. So I'm expecting to see some of that for sure.
100%. They're both.
And how do they size up? How do these guys size up, like in height wise?
So they'll be weighing in the same, obviously, 79.3 kilos. But George is he's a big guy. He's about 6'5", so very tall.
Right.
Jake's pretty reasonable height himself, isn't he?
Jake is quite tall. Yeah, he would definitely be over 6 foot. But yeah, George is he'll have a good sort of whole head height on Jake, I reckon.
Yep.
Very long limbs, and he cuts down a lot of weight too. So
it should be quite impressive.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well,
Jake will usually fight around 76 kilos, so he can make that weight easily. So this is a very comfortable weight for Jake to fight at. He won't have to cut much at all.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think over the last
very close
12
to his
months,
natural
years,
weight.
both fighters have come up, haven't they, in weight?
Yes, yeah. Well, George was fighting at 70 kilos. Like he was when he was on one championship and stuff like that. He was fighting very, very low.
So, May, I don't know if you've been spending much time with Jake in his lead up in his training leading up. Last time we spoke to him, last time I think it was his first fight that we seen him, and he came on stream and he was pretty casual about his training and he seemed pretty relaxed about it. He's a little bit more focused this time, a little bit more serious for this one.
Yeah, I'd say he is.
I,
Yeah.
I think he's his level of focus and seriousness is probably way above most people's, but he seemed pretty relaxed about the last one when he was on.
Yeah, I think he sort of treated them as like a warm up to come back. He was pretty confident back then.
Yep.
Yeah, but he's definitely taken it up a notch. I mean, I don't know if many people saw, but he ended up going to Thailand in prep for this one as well. So we actually helped him with that in part of the sponsorship. He went over to Thailand for 5 weeks and trained leading up to this fight. So yeah, he's taken it pretty seriously, and it's obviously probably one of the biggest fights he's ever had.
I was actually down at the gym with him because we'll do the promo shoots for them and the videos. So I was down there for his previous fights doing them, and then was down there for this one, and the level was definitely different with him. You could feel it. He was really stepping it up, and it was like a electric sort of feeling being in there around him while he was training. It was cool to see. I haven't seen him like that before.
Yeah, when you see him go hard and training, you're like, it's next level.
Yeah.
Well, I just want to thank Andrew for coming on and telling us about the fight on the weekend. Once again, guys, risechampionship.com.au/watch-live. Check it out. It's going to be, look, if any of Jake's previous fights or anything to go by, this is going to be a cracker. So make sure you check it out. You'll see HEX logos everywhere. They'll be absolutely everywhere. And Andrew, we absolutely have to make you a Hexican, mate. We've got to make you a Hexican.
For sure, guys. Look forward to it.
Thanks, mate. Thanks for coming on. We really
We'll
appreciate
sort
it.
them out. We've got 2 tables of Hexicans coming there, so we'll have a big chat to them afterwards at the after party.
Yeah.
Just 1 sec, guys. I'll just show you something.
The suspense.
This is what we got
There we
here.
go.
Diamond belt.
Wait
That's
1
what it's
second.
all about.
There you
Let's
go.
have a
You're seeing it here
That's the one.
first. Look at that.
Look at that.
That is
Beautiful.
Nice.
Gee, that is a pretty belt. That's a pretty belt.
Beautiful belt.
And what
So
would
if
do Hexagon better than a diamond belt? Nothing.
It's cool. This is the first and only diamond belt to ever be in Australia, and I've got it in my living room, so it's pretty cool.
So what does the winner actually get to keep that belt, or it goes?
Yep.
Yeah,
That becomes theirs. They'll get a medallion and there's a shirt in there as well, world champion shirt.
Yep.
So, but yeah, this is the prize. So
That's
what they're fighting
impressive.
for.
You've been walking around the house with that, wearing that, mate?
I'm trying not to touch it too much, to be honest. I'm just
Some selfies. over the shoulder.
I don't want too much more to do with it than getting it to the fight in one piece.
That's fair enough, mate.
Definitely,
That's fair
it
enough.
wasn't staying in my car tonight, that's for sure. It's coming inside.
All right, mate. Well, thanks for coming on. We
Cool.
really appreciate it. And we look forward to, checking out the fight on the weekend. Take
Thanks,
care,
guys.
mate.
Just want to say
Yeah,
thanks
I'll be
to
tuning in for
Discourse
sure.
Syndicate and HEX.com. This fight wouldn't happen without you guys. So much appreciated. And thanks to everyone that buys the live stream and tunes in.
Great.
Awesome.
You heard that, Hexicans?
Thanks,
Get out and support the guys.
Get out there
Cool.
and share
Thanks,
it,
guys.
Tweet, retweet, comment, share.
Cheers.
Spread it.
Thanks, mate.
Ta.
Yeah, so Discourse Syndicate has sponsored Jake Lund. That's why you're going to see HEX logos everywhere. But
Yeah, so most people wouldn't be aware that Discourse Syndicate sent him overseas for his training and funded all of that. But that was how long did you say he was over there for? 5 weeks or something?
Yeah, so originally it was meant to be 4 weeks, but he ended up staying a week. Hang on a second. I'm going crazy. Sorry. Just take that off.
No,
Hang on,
shout
give me
out
2
to you as
seconds.
well, mate.
Give me 2
You're right, mate.
seconds.
Yep. He's put a lot of work into making all this come together getting shirts printed up, shorts, robes, the ring girls outfit. So he's been beavering away in the background. Old Mayo, he's done a really good job putting this together. We've helped out a little bit, but he's done all the heavy lifting for sure. And shout out to a couple of the US guys. So Kinetics has obviously played a big part in this. And is it Max? Who done all the t-shirts design? Was that Maximus, was it? Let me just have a look. Could you get the right name?
Yeah, I think it was Maximus.
Yeah.
J Maximus.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, we've got it.
Yeah,
Andrew,
Maximus J.
We've got to get Andrew. Like, we're going to make Andrew a hexagon. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, this is potentially the start of a really long and prosperous relationship for both Hex and for Rise. You can see Rise is they're trying to do big things, and if we can help them grow as well, it's a good opportunity there. A bit of an untapped market.
Absolutely. All right, guys. So, we've devoted half an hour to Rise Championship and Jake Lund and the Hex sponsorship and the Diamond Belt that's on Saturday. What else has been going on in DeFi? What's been going on, Tangent? You usually have your finger on the pulse.
I just saw something where HVID HEX is organizing with BitBoy to get a debate between Richard Hart and Charles Hoskinson, which is very epic.
Yeah, Charles seems a little bit reluctant. I don't know.
Yeah, he should.
I don't know why. No, I don't think he should. That's the thing.
You know why? Debating Richard is often a career-ending. I know it's not going to be hostile.
Yeah.
Look, when it's a smart person, I see good discourse between the people. I think Richard only smashes people who, say stupid shit.
I think Richard actually really respects him. Like, he knows that Charles is out there fighting the good fight as well. And we've all seen him when he was speaking, whether it was at Congress or wherever it was, but he was out there going into bat for the whole industry. And I think he's got the right, he's coming at it from the right angle as well, not from the CFI angle. So he's actually coming at it from the crypto angle. So I think Richard really respects that about Charles. So I don't think, and everyone's been trying to switch and say, well, let's not call it a debate. This is a chance for two very, very large communities, probably two of the largest communities outside of XRP in the crypto space, to come together. And if we can find a bit of common ground and actually go into debate and actually as a unified front for all these things that are coming through, only good can come from that. Excuse me.
Did you guys hear that thing about how it was something like the Greeks and some other country, was it Greeks and Persians or something? They used to fight, but then whenever there was an outside threat, they'd team up, something like that. I just heard it today, but I forgot which countries it was. Maybe Persians were actually the invading force. It might have been like Greek Spartans or something like that, and they'd be fighting against each other all the time. But then if an outside threat was coming in, they would team up together and fight off that outside threat. So this could be a similar thing where, our communities don't have to agree and we can get back to fighting later once the bigger threat has been fended off.
Yeah. This could, out of all of the shit that's happened, this could be that solidifying event that brings the communities all come together and go, I know we're all slinging shit at each other for various, yours is a shit coin, whatever, all the hate that we talk about. And let's face it, we're all here for the same thing. Obviously we're here for the mad gains, but we're also here for the what it represents in terms of a new financial system and a chance to actually make a meaningful impact on the world. And if we can't get our shit together and put our memes and stuff aside just to actually go into battle, and this is pretty serious. Like, it seems like it's a big game. It's all fun and joking around and sending memes, but there's some pretty tectonic things happening at the moment, especially in the US, that if we if we don't get on top of, it could have a lasting impact, not only for crypto and stunt its growth, but also it could just derail this whole opportunity in terms of making a big shift in the world. I don't want to see that happen.
We really
Yeah,
do
it's
need
also-
to call out. We need to call out the fake crypto, though. I mean, that's important.
Yeah.
We do
Don't
need
get
to-
me
Of
wrong.
course.
Like,
Yeah. We're not doing kumbaya shit with scams. Definitely not.
Yeah. We do need to, like things like FTX, like it's not crypto. It's not crypto,
Yeah.
but crypto gets blamed. Like all that stuff that went down, crypto gets blamed like it's crypto's fault. No, that's Legacy's fault. That's not crypto's fault. Crypto working just fine.
Yeah. So I think there's a real risk that could get derailed because the wrong people go in and represent, or people don't go in as a united front and don't represent at all, and then you just get handed down whatever shit they choose to do in the US. And that's not the end of crypto, but it's going to mean very hard to do things in the US. I've already seen, so this week, Nexo announced that they're looking to leave the US because they just can't deal with the regulatory side of things. There's no clarity. It's too much
the
business
uncertainty.
risk.
It's the uncertainty that hurts business, and we've seen that in the aftermath of the last couple of years with the Android 19 fiasco. So basically, that's put a lot of businesses. It's given them uncertainty, and because of that uncertainty, business owners are they're unsure which step to take next. And so I can understand companies wanting to leave the US just due to that uncertainty.
Yeah.
Which is not that's not what you want. You don't want to stifle innovation. You do not want to stifle innovation.
Yeah, so it has two effects. So one, obviously, or you get a brain drain, or your smart people that are on the leading edge, they'll leave the country and go work elsewhere. They'll set up shop where they're more welcome. But then it also, you don't want to just run away with your tail between your legs and not put up the fight in the US, because that is let's face it, it's a big market, and it would be nice to see everyone there come along for the ride and do it with a bit more clear direction. It wouldn't be the end of crypto. Everything would it'd probably delay it a little bit, and for the US guys, it would be tougher for those guys to operate. They wouldn't be able to access a lot of things that we can. We already see that now.
Big speed hump in adoption.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yep.
So there's someone in the chat who's asking us to address something. Let's see what he's talking about. Anyone want to address the tens of millions of USDT in PulseSac wallet converted to USDC and used to cash out OG HEX wallets on Uniswap? I.e., someone is running a Ponzi on top of the HEX PLS ecosystem.
What?
Hey, there's some. You're making some allegations there, mate. Why don't you give us some details rather than just talking about stuff that
But also,
that no one
what
has
does that
any link
mean?
to.
What does that mean by how do you use the USDC to cash out OG HEX wallets? That doesn't actually make any sense. You would be using ETH to pay the gas to sell HEX if you were cashing out a HEX wallet. You don't use USDC.
I think they're talking
to cash
providing.
out. It doesn't make any sense.
Providing liquidity, I think, is what they're driving at.
Yeah,
I
we need
heard
to see some receipts,
this
buddy.
might be related.
Receipts.
This might be related to a accusation I heard recently on Twitter that someone was saying the sacrifice money that went to the sacrifice address was being used to make the HEX Ponzi last longer, i.e. to help pay out the obligations. What these people don't realize is that there is no obligation that HEX can't pay internally, because it's the contract that pays it out with inflation. So there is no Ponzi in that sense that it needs to be funded, because it gets funded by the inflation that gets created by the contract. So HEX can never fail to deliver on its obligation of yield. And so that accusation or allegation was not true. Like, it doesn't make any sense. So if that's if this is a related question, then it's no. The answer is no.
Yeah, I think if someone's got some receipts, then yeah, by all means, show it.
He's saying that they're using Tornado Cash to try and cover their tracks. Look, man, that's your opinion. They could just be whoever's in charge of that could just want some privacy of what's going to happen next, and you might see that as covering their tracks, but it is what it is. And Tornado Cash is not illegal in the rest of the world. It's just illegal in the US. So
the part that doesn't make sense to me in this comment is, how is the SAC address being used to cash out the OG HEX wallets? It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
You either cash out the OG HEX wallets or you cash out the Pulse SAC wallets. It's like they're not the same thing, and you don't need one to cash out the other. Does that? Or unless they mean okay, I've worked out what they might mean. Let me try and so that HEX from the OG like OA wallets was sent in and sacrificed to one of or both of the sacrifice addresses, and then by selling it from there, then it can't be accused as being that the OA is dumping, because it basically commingled the funds with everyone else's sacrifices.
I don't believe any HEX has been sold from those sacrifices.
And that's not what they're saying anyway. But that's the only way I can. That's the only way I can try to like transform this commentary into something that actually makes sense.
Yeah, not sure.
Yeah, so
you either need more context or I wouldn't waste too much time on that comment until you've got facts or something that you can actually.
It would be good that if someone was to make like a video with the actual on chain and actually show and be like, okay, this is here. But if they said that there was a break in it because there was an anonymity service used, then you wouldn't even be able to do that. And then it's hard to make that accusation.
Yeah.
But also, let me say this as like an overarching comment. Even if that was the case, right? Look at what happened after the allegations that there was like ETH recycling in the AA. How did that turn out? 10,000x. So it's like some of these things that even if it's true, and I'm not saying it is, but I'm saying even if it's true, the real question you want to ask yourself is it going to stop Pulse from doing 100x? Is it going to stop Pulse X from doing a 10,000x? Like it. And by the way, I'm just pulling those numbers out of my ass. That's not me implying that one of them has more likelihood of pumping more than the other. They both are theoretically have potential of doing those sorts of X's. But the point is that in the past, things that have been like leveled as accusations have made, even when people are like, look at what's going on here, and here. Who gives a shit?
I don't understand what you mean by HEX OG wallets.
Yeah,
like
what's
the
everything's transparent. Where's the transactions? What are you talking about?
So yeah, if you could clarify your commentary, because these terms don't make sense. Maybe we're spending too long on this.
It's just FUD. It's
by the way, in the defense of this user, I have seen this user commenting on my videos in the past, and they've been quality comments. So this is not a troll. This is a quality user. Like, as in, I know the style of this person's commentary, and it's usually top notch. So I think this is just a miscommunication of terms. It's not an attempt to like FUD or create like trolling, etc.
I actually think it is it's misguided, because the HEX contract, you purchase HEX, and the HEX contract can pay yield in HEX, and that can't be broken. That works, and that's all the HEX contract promises, and that's all anyone has ever promised in relation to the HEX contract. So, cashing out is a different matter. That's a different matter altogether. And no one's ever made any promises in relation to cashing out. We're very clear about that. The price goes up and down. We don't know what it's going to do. It could go down. It could go up. Who knows? But the HEX contract, it's in the code. It can pay you the yield that it promises in terms of HEX.
Yeah. You'd have to say, people, you can't just make assumptions on, a lot of people read the chain and fuck it up badly by making assumptions. So if you can piece together something legible that makes sense and you can clearly demonstrate what you're trying to say, have at it. But yeah, I've seen a lot of people
interesting
make assumptions. And
there was another interesting video that got made that was like one of those sort of like Illuminati conspiracy style videos about HEX being a cult. And I actually enjoyed it in the sense that I watched that video and I thought, this video theoretically could actually onboard people. I'm not gonna publicize it and tweet it out because it is technically deliberately trying to be negative towards HEX. It really is trying to claim that it's a cult. But I watched it and I was like, if I was watching this as a no coin or even a crypto person that didn't have HEX, I would maybe be like, I might buy some. do you know what I mean? Like I thought it was actually quite compelling reasons to get into HEX.
You can look at like Apple users, they're a cult. Android users, they're a cult. Like they all go into bat for their own team, and
It just means if you make it a synonym that enthusiastic community is cult like, which is true. And when you have you also need a charismatic figure that becomes the focus. So like Steve Jobs or Google products don't really have the person that gets worshipped. Apple had Steve Jobs. HEX has obviously got Richard Hart. Crypto typically has the founder. You see those pictures of Vitalik with like halos and shit. Satoshi, even though he's anonymous, or he or she, whatever.
It's still put up on a pedestal.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm saying that is an example of it, even though it's anon. Android doesn't have the personality.
No,
but it definitely still has the community.
Yeah, my comment was more that humans, by our very nature, are very tribalistic, and whether it's football teams or whatever, we'll do some weird and wacky shit to support whatever it is we're getting behind.
Yeah.
So I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing if you've got that sort of commitment from people in a community. We see it a lot in crypto. We see it a lot everywhere.
Yeah. So the only other thing I can think of that's interesting that people might not know about is Richard. When Richard got cut off from being on the same Twitter Spaces as Elon, they were both speakers, and then someone kicked him out just before he was able to school Elon on some important shit. Richard then ran his own spaces, I guess, just to kind of like have a voice and discuss stuff. If you guys haven't seen that, I found that quite interesting.
So that was the whole Kim.com booted Richard off. I wasn't there when he actually booted him right off. I listened to pretty much everything else on that stream except for that one. But what I did notice about Kim.com is and it wasn't just Richard though. He'd done this to other people as well. He would berate someone for one guy. He called him out for speaking on behalf of Elon or making assumptions of what Elon might say or do, and then he went on. Like Kim.com went on to do the exact same thing after he'd literally just trolleyed someone for doing it, and he talks and talks because I think he just loves hearing the sound of his own voice, and I think this is a big attention grab for him. So, yeah,
rules for thee and not for me.
Yeah. I think Mario's doing a good job. He's running good spaces and he lets people take the mic and run with it and doesn't interrupt them. I think if he can continue doing that, and if Kim could either voluntarily take a little bit of a pause, or if Mario just went on about his business and didn't bother to include him. I think that the spaces would be more productive, to be honest. Sick of hearing from the guy.
Let the big boys talk, eh?
Yeah. That's. I mean, the spaces have been good. I think we're probably in that echo chamber a bit though, where we're all bashing shit around, but it doesn't matter what we talk about on Twitter. Yeah, that fires the crypto Twitter up, but it's all the shit that's going on in real life. That's where people need to be directing their attention at this very moment, I think. And love him or hate him, I think BitBoy's doing a pretty good job at that.
Yeah, didn't Richard actually say BitBoy pivoted basically from doing shit that's not good for the industry to now? So judge someone by their actions, not by their words, and allow people to improve for the better. Like you can't condemn someone for their past behavior forever. People need to be able, otherwise you're not incentivizing people to change. If someone has done something wrong in the past and they're going to get cop shit for the rest of their life for it, then they're like, well, why should I try and be a better person if everyone's just going to give me shit as if like there's no incentive to be a better person? So I think we need to reward and acknowledge when someone has, and then if they fall back into bad habits, then be like, oh, that was short-lived. They're back to being a piece of shit. And just so you just call it in real time.
Yeah. Yeah, no, totally agree. I think BitBoy was always like he never came out and actively hated on HEX, but he was just sort of sat in the background and let things bubble away. I think he said this many, many months ago. The people you think are the villains are not, and the ones you think are the heroes are the actual villains. And I think he was very much referring to Richard in that statement as well. So yeah, I reckon he's doing a stand-up job. There's not too many people that would. He doesn't need to put himself on the line like he has. Like going down to the Bahamas, that was a pretty risky move. Fucking anything could happen down there. So my hat's off to him. I reckon he's doing a good job. And if he may be the person that brings everyone together, especially if he can facilitate Charles and Richard getting together for a friendly. Sorry, what was you going to say, Tangent?
Oh, we're letting Mayo get a word in, but I was just, this will be real quick. And if you want to comment, that I heard a podcast where they said the people who have come out shining in this scenario are not people that they want to be the leaders or the people that get looked at as. And so I believe that was referring to Richard Hart and BitBoy, that particular podcaster was saying the people that look like that they are the sort of the heroes of the day with regard to what's happened with FTX and all that, that they are also not fans of those characters. But obviously that's just subjective. They still obviously see BitBoy for the stuff that he did in the past, and obviously still have that attitude towards Richard that some people still do.
Yeah. Yeah. Sorry, you go, Mayo.
I think you've got to be careful of a lot of actors during this time too, but at the same time, as people learn and grow, a lot of people probably come into space to benefit themselves, but when they realize if you actually work together, you can benefit everyone. So I don't know, that's just my little thing, but a lot of people probably come in there just to do what they want for themselves, and they don't give a fuck about anyone else or what's going on. Yeah. But when they realize there's a bigger picture to this whole thing, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I think most, like the people that were perceived to be leaders, like your Vitaliks and Gavin Wood and guys like that, they were very internally focused on their projects, and rightfully so. They've been head down, bum up, trying to just do things at a tech level, which is great. You need people that are really good technically, but you haven't had the whole space hasn't had anyone sort of rally everyone together and coordinate or bring any sort of cohesiveness across all of this. And maybe you need people that aren't the tech wizards, but are really more charismatic and are better at the softer people side of things that actually can rally all this together. So it's going to take a range of different people to do it. And yeah, if you squash anyone that tries, yeah, you're not helping.
I think it's important to remember to always keep in the back of our mind that while I do believe there genuinely are good people within the space, the Bitcoin ethos that started this all off is the adversarial mindset. And that is the assumption that every network participant is going to behave in selfish interest. And so even though obviously that's not very, that can be a bit sad or isolating where you're like, oh my God, everyone's an enemy. But it's just to do with the correct mindset so that then you don't get upset when people don't behave how you believed because you thought they were friend and they ended up being a foe or whatever.
Yeah. No, I totally get that. And I really do. I've said this last couple of streams as well. I really do see that the Bitcoin guys are purposely trying to segregate themselves from the rest of crypto to one, try and isolate themselves for what they perceive as all the bad shit that's going on over here. They don't want to be associated with it because they're on their path of they want Bitcoin to be a reserve currency, and to do that they need to. They've been around long enough, and they've got a little bit of clarity where it looks like it could be a commodity. So now they're trying to drive a big wedge between the two sections to make sure that they don't get dragged back down in with the rest of the stuff that's going on.
It's one of their narratives, and it's reasonably effective. If you think of it from a marketing standpoint, Bitcoin, there is no second best. Like it's Bitcoin and crypto, and everything else is just shit coins. Like that. So they've driven this narrative in various different iterations of that marketing pitch. So the wording has changed, like Bitcoin versus shit coins, Bitcoin versus crypto. It's not. They had one where it was like it's not crypto, it's Bitcoin. Where you know what I mean? Like they would try to get Bitcoiners to not use the term crypto and specifically say Bitcoin only. And so we're just seeing a new iteration of that where it is like the whole, where this is going to be the reserve currency. Like you said, this is going to be the one that's already been determined is not a security. Everything else is at risk. Like anything that they could latch onto as a distinction as to what defines Bitcoin outside of that broader crypto space. And then they will ignore all the counterpoints, like what Richard said about how Bitcoin doesn't plug into DeFi or it doesn't have its own DeFi network yet, or might not ever. Like when I say yet, it might not ever. You have to suck middleman D if you want to cross chain it. The whole idea of it being older, so it's got more economic weight to move the price up. The fact that some of the whales are like already heavily established, so you'd struggle to sort of become a reasonable percentage of the network ownership. All of these things that are negatives, they just basically ignore all of those. And I'm not saying that some of these points are valid and not. Like as in, there's probably a level of truth to everything that I'm listing here. It's for each person to decide how much weight to put into these things. But they certainly do love that narrative. I don't think they're going to move away from it in a hurry.
So I'm torn because in one sense, I want Bitcoin to really succeed in terms of if it turns out to be the reserve currency. Fuck, happy days. I'm okay with that. Oh, bro,
I'm definitely down with that.
I'm totally okay with that because it's supplanting against something that I think is an absolute pile of crap.
So it's massive improvement from the current system. Massive improvement.
If that's what they have to do to drive that through and achieve that, I'm okay. But what I struggle with is the fact that they do sort of isolate themselves from and are dishonest about a lot of the innovation that's happening. And imagine if we got the internet and AOL was the only thing that ever came out of that. Like, it was a big behemoth and it was doing its thing. But if we stifled everything else and all we kept was AOL and all the other things that the cloud computing and everything else we've developed in the meantime never came around, I think the world would be a lot worse off. And I think that's the risk they run in terms of
something that was very unimpressive to me from the Bitcoin community was once Richard pointed out this idea of social consensus, and I realized, hang on a second, yeah, this is actually true, that this whole idea of there will only ever be 21 million Bitcoin, I believe it does require the additional commentary that says, you know, this assumes
if everyone agrees.
yeah, this like that technically, you know, to at least approach that, and then you can counter defend the admission. So you could say, look, this, I'll admit that this requires this, but we believe that the reason why this won't be a problem is because of these game theoretical elements, plus the community, the idea of these adversarial groups that all have to sort of agree and fork. So just to explain in a bit more detail, but you hear these very intelligent, very knowledgeable Bitcoiners who should know better, just making it will only ever be 21 million Bitcoin. And they just say it like as if it is fact.
It's funny you say that. It's funny you say that because there's one guy I've been watching, what's his name? Something Trader. Like he's a hardcore Bitcoin maxi. He's got some good content, but he's definitely got his blinkers on when he says some of these things. And he went on a massive spiel why Ethereum was shit, and then he said this is why Bitcoin's awesome. And he went through all the you've got multiple parties that all have to come together, and no one can just change anything. And to distill it all down, all he had to do was use RH's comment of these are all socially enforced networks. That basically summed up everything that he had just said with regards to Bitcoin. So you can have all the technical shit you want in the world, and this comes back to how many Bitcoin will there be? There will be as many Bitcoin as everyone socially agrees upon. It doesn't matter whether it's Bitcoin or another network; they're all social. So yeah, that's the dishonest bit that gets me. But yeah, I'm happy for them to run their narrative now, and if it improves the position of Bitcoin overall, and you get nations putting it up as a form of money in their countries, I'm happy for them. Good on them. Do it.
Yeah, so you do get guys like Max Kaiser that do talk about it like it is, as if it is godlike. It's like he says stuff like Bitcoin is the God particle, and will say, you know, as if the tech has actually been built in a way that it cannot be changed, and that is intellectually dishonest. So I think there's nothing wrong with, like, I like the Richard Hart comment where he's like, yo, you don't need to lie about it. It's already fucking incredible. It's already amazing. Its price performance has been incredible. The technology is incredible. It's like everything. There's so many positives about it that you don't need to go and fucking lie. Like, you don't need to go and lie about it. So yeah,
and that comes back to what we're talking about, is where it's all about DeFi and fostering that and bringing that. And Bitcoin's done an awesome job at leading the charge, but there's a lot of cool tech. HEX is in that bucket as well. There's a lot of cool tech that has evolved from it, and I don't think you should be, turning your back on that sort of stuff, because that's really what's going to drive us forward. If we didn't have something like a Uniswap pop up in the last market, the world would be a completely different place in terms of the crypto space. That's been a game changer.
Yeah.
So you guys found a pretty cool tool in your travels the last couple of days, didn't you? Did you guys want to have a little chat about that?
Talking about privacy, or
yeah.
There's been actually a few new privacy tools coming up now. Actually, I think it must have just taken time for people to work on alternatives after Tornado went down.
Yeah, that's it. Everyone needed a good reason to work on alternatives.
I respect anyone that's working on that kind of tech, because it's theoretically at the threat of jail, life imprisonment.
The thing. What was the thing that you found? Did you find like a privacy tool?
Void.cash. Audited kind of version of, it's a bit like Tornado Cash, but with an audited contract. The audit looks great. And so the other one that I think that I can't remember who told me about it. It might have been someone on Telegram, or it might have been Bluey, the Beetroot one. I think Bluey did mention the Beetroot one, but someone on Telegram had already told me about it, that Beetroot privacy one. Important to note with that one is that they've got a thing called an anonymous exchange, and it is not private. It is only anonymous. So you can use it anonymously, but it will show up on chain what the addresses that were involved in the transaction. So don't confuse private with anonymous. Anonymous just means you can go and use it without providing any information. No email, no KYC, no sign up. You're using it anonymously, but the on-chain data will still have a trail of where the coins came from and went to cross-chain. So the one you want to be using if you want actually to break that link is the privacy bridge, but it's got slightly less options on there.
The thing
That's
that I was
still.
looking
Sorry,
at,
you go.
I was just going to
I
say
suspect
that
it was made by Hexicans. I suspect that,
right.
the people, at least some of the people involved in making that one are pro HEX / Richard Hart, because they are already planning to support PulseChain when it comes out. And so they're either Hexicans or they at least are not anti.
Yep.
What were you going to say, Jexa? Because I was going to pivot to another point.
No,
but,
keep going, man.
I was just
Before
going to
we
say,
pivot, let's just say throw another shrimp on the barbie for Toby One.
Where did shrimp come from? We don't even have shrimp in Australia.
We don't even say it.
It's weird, hey?
we don't say shrimp. We say prawns.
We say prawns.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Chuck another prawn on the barbie.
It needed to appeal to
very
a mass
strange.
US audience. That line, it needed to appeal. Otherwise, they wouldn't know what the hell they were talking about. But I get the thing that I was looking at during the week was an interesting protocol that's being built. I'm not going to name it because I think it's still early on and it's vaporware at this point. But what they're working on is node relays, private node relayers. So you run this protocol and it's basically
This
runs
is for RPC nodes, you mean?
Yeah, RPC, and it's going to run on top of that. So, and it's going to add a layer of privacy. So the relaying of that information is going to be completely private. So that's
so smart.
Yeah. So, and people can run that, and it's a decentralized network of people just running that protocol. So that's interesting. That's an interesting thing. I hope that they that's a knife.
So they had something similar. Well, I didn't see it. I was thinking so hard. Wow. So they had
that's how you cut your sausages. That's how you cut your sausages and your bacon in the morning, right?
Yeah, give them a quick poke so they don't explode on the barbie. Sorry,
so if that ends up like working out and that comes out, that would be great because it's sort of like a way that, and this is how like DeFi tends to work. It's like, gates get put up, and then people find ways to work around it. And
we either
the
route
ways
around it or smash the gate down.
Yeah. So it's just that's how, and I'm fascinated by this stuff. I'm absolutely fascinated. So that's vaporware at this point. So it's not out. They're still working on it. Who knows if they'll end up achieving what they're trying to achieve? But if they did, that would be very interesting for Ethereum or even EVM based chains, because there's SDK out, and anyone can. Or any dev can go and grab that SDK and then work on something for, say, PulseChain.
Oh, another one that was pretty cool was, Jack Mauler's Strike. Is it Strike or Stripe? I get them confused. But anyway,
I think it is.
His Lightning thing. He's got a interface that can do fiat to crypto that anyone can like plug into their dApps. So It's like
No. That's two different things. So you're thinking of Stripe has just released that.
yeah, Stripe.
Stripe has, but that's not Jack Mallers.
Okay. So that's not
Yeah.
Okay. So I've got the
But
right
you're
thing,
right,
but
yeah.
the wrong person. Yeah. So
yeah.
So Stripe, not Jack Mallers shit, has made that
Yep.
protocol that devs can plug in. I tweeted about it. I thought the PulseChain devs might be interested. That means that then there's like a fiat on ramp, and it's the way it looks. It looks like you're using a DEX. It's like it's like you're swapping the shit. It's like just two inputs, like what you want to put in and what you want to have as the output.
I did actually go and have a look at that because I run Stripe on one of my websites as a payment service, and I also run coin payments next to it, so I can accept all the crypto stuff.
Cool.
Yeah. But coin payments it's a little bit clunky. Like, it does what it needs to do, but it's not brilliant. But if I could pare that down to having one service that done all your crypto payments, and people could actually onboard through that as well, that's a big thing. I don't know whether you can pick any asset. I'd have to go back and have another look, but it was a little bit more complicated. It wasn't something I could just easy sign up for and add into my site. I would have had to do a bit of work. But yeah, when I get around to it, I'll follow up on that one and see if that's a goer. But it looks all right. It's all progress.
Just reply to Intrepid Shape. What's the name of that of the relay? I'm not going to mention it on purpose because it's not finished. I don't know if it's going to do what it says it's going to do. I don't want people going and interacting with it or doing anything to do with it. If it comes out and it's good and it's audited and it works, it does what it's supposed to do, then by all means I'll be screaming from the rooftop.
Intrepid, that stuff from Morales, can you pick whatever asset you like though? And are they pulling it from, say, a DEX or something like that, or you've got a limited set that you can use?
Morales will probably include PulseChain because you know how it's Ivan Text shit, and he sacked big for PulseChain. So I wouldn't be surprised if that shit definitely gets integrated.
Yep. Yeah. That would be pretty good because I think that's all the RPC stuff that they provide. So it makes the dApp development a lot easier. You don't need to run all the infrastructure. That's one of the things that's a bit of not a showstopper, but it just makes it harder for development teams. But that's a double-edged sword as well, because then you end up with more centralized services in there. Yeah. So that thing that
I saw a hilarious comment in the comments said, "I branded RH into my skin." Denny 7.
Show us pics or it didn't happen.
And I do need to make a public service announcement. The tweet I put out about getting sacked from working for SwiftX, it was a joke, people. So thanks for the concern.
I thought it was a joke.
But did you hear that they did fire a bunch of people?
Yeah. I don't know. It was probably
you did hear about that,
make fun of that, but yeah, I had to stick one to them because they are pricks for when you do transfer your money to them. They actually do lock your account, so they'll let you send a certain amount of money. And if you send a bigger chunk, they'll literally shut down your account, and then you've got to give them proof of income, and you've got to pull out invoices and pay stubs.
That's disgusting. That's disgusting shit. Like, it should be before you make a transaction, it should be clearly stated before you do that. Like, we're going to need A, B, C, and D. That's disgusting shit, man.
So I actually
hope they go out of business. I hope they go out of business.
That's what I said to them. I spoke to their support, and I said, guys, you got to say that shit before someone transfers the money. And their response was, "Oh, we didn't want people to game the system, like sending a couple of bucks under the threshold and things like that." That was their comeback.
Excuses.
That's a bullshit. That's a pop out.
Yeah.
I haven't had any problems with them, and I'm thinking it might be because my account is for my self-managed super fund, and they would never dare fuck with that shit. If they messed with someone's super, they'd get fucked in the ass for sure.
Mine was
they can't do that shit because
mine was a corporate account.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Fucking hell, the dogs.
Fucking dog.
But you know that the government takes super stuff real serious, right? Like as in, you know what I mean? Like
Super is
it's a even higher level of like taken seriously than say corporate shit, because it's like you're,
it is,
you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Because the government knows that ultimately they're the ones that cop the bill. If something happens to
you
your
blow
super,
it up,
they do care about that shit.
So superannuation, which is like your self-managed pension fund in Australia, it's like mandatory. It's mandatory that it gets audited every single year. It needs to get audited. So there can't be any hanky panky. It like has to be like 100% legit, and you can't like. It is so strict. You can't even do shit like, I've got money in my pension, I want to invest in a holiday house somewhere, like, and then and rent it out most of the year to other people and make money from it. But you're not allowed to go rent it. You're not allowed to go there and benefit from it in any way, shape,
or
You're
any
not allowed to get
family.
any benefit from any of those.
No
assets.
benefit whatsoever.
No direct benefit. So you can't buy art
to-
and hang it up in your house. You can't buy a warehouse and then let your business store shit in it. Like it has to be completely arm's length.
Oh, actually,
Investment
you
only.
can actually buy a warehouse and let your business rent it from the super, but it has to be. Yeah, you can.
I don't
You
think you
absolutely
can.
because
can.
it's
It
not
has to be
it's not
arms.
in your name.
Yeah, it has to be arm's length, and you have to be paying market rate, like similar to market rate rent, and it has to be legit. Like the super has to be getting the rent from the company, but you personally can't just go and I've got this my superannuation bought a factory, and now I can just go like hang out in there and put all my stuff in there and just benefit from it. You know. Now.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's actually one of the things you can do with your super. You can like go and buy property and then let your business rent the property, but it has to be all like legit. You can't just. There has to be like, I believe there has to be a proper lease in place.
You still benefit because you're paying yourself.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
You benefit, but it's like you're benefiting, but you're still paying all the taxes and everything the way you need to be doing it. Yeah. Has to be commercial property, by the way.
Let's face it.
Yes.
We're not going to need super.
what super? That's what we're talking about.
Yeah, that's it.
I haven't paid myself in. Oh wait, what?
Yeah. Is that crossing the line? 43.
I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm going to need super.
I missed the whole thing.
As long as governments
I'm not involved in this.
As long as governments keep their sticky fingers off our super, I'm fine. As long as they keep their sticky fingers off our super, because they see that as a pot of gold they want to raid. You know?
It's in the under the not your keys, not your coins thing. They could theoretically just pass laws and access people's super, like it would just tax it more heavily, or like it's absolutely not. It's absolutely not outside of the realms of possibility.
Just keep making it older and older.
Or do that shit like that. Yeah.
They're like a bunch. They're like a bunch of Bitcoiners changing the coin count, aren't they?
You can access your superannuation at the tender age of 96. So like,
or they
99.99% there.
They could make some rule that like a minimum amount of super investments has to be into government bonds. Like they could be like a minimum of this percentage, so that they just effectively get an immediate injection into government bonds or something like that. They could just
This is, and by the way, this is not financial advice. I have no but I did look into this myself. Not so much buying a palace in France, but just buying property overseas. The issue that I came across when I was researching that is that in most countries, you need to set up an entity in that country that bears the same name as your superannuation fund. And then like the superannuation fund, like the trustee owns that entity in that country. It becomes very convoluted. And I looked into it and just thought, it's sort of, for me, it just seemed like a lot of extra work and a lot of potential problems, because then it's out of the Australian jurisdiction. So I just You got to research it.
Yeah, there's got to be somewhere we can go. I know the English tend to go to Portugal with their super, or
Can you,
whatever.
can you put up some of the comments? There's some cracker comments.
Do you know what the
in
other
there.
thing is? The other thing about super, can I just make this? The other thing about super, if you've got a self-managed super in Australia, and then you decide to go live overseas, it's sort of, you have to dissolve the super fund, and then put it into an industry super fund. So that's obviously very difficult if you've got a 15-year stake in your super. Yeah.
Oof. Oh, I guess they could force you to EES if they know that that's a function.
Yeah.
Stop giving them ideas, Tangent.
Yeah. Let's move on. Let's not let them know.
Which?
I tried to
Okay.
withdraw
I've got.
5K.
Let me give you the defensive counter. When the stake got made, the coins got burnt. The shit doesn't even exist.
Yeah, that's it.
It was a loss.
Are we going to do any of our segments, or should we change the topic? I know people get very upset when we talk about tax and things like that.
Yeah, it's all good. There's a few good comments in there. I reckon
Chris. There's a comment from Chris saying, "Bring back Steak and Bake." So the reason why, Freddie and I wanted to do a Steak and Bake, but while I was being an expert witness for that court case, even though they don't drug test you when you go in to be an expert witness, I wanted my mind to be 1,000,000% sharp. So I didn't smoke weed for an entire month leading up to and including while I was in that court case. So now that it's all over and I've done my part, we are definitely going to do a Steak and Bake very shortly, very soon. It's on the cards. Thank you for reminding me.
That's pretty funny. They said I must have a reason, and I said I want to buy a pound of marijuana. Look, they need a reason. They need to write something down. Yeah, which is you could just say.
Imagine if you're just some kind of crime. I haven't even decided what crime yet, but I'm gonna do crime.
Just cocaine.
The first crime that comes into my mind.
But it is getting a bit ridiculous now, where you have to tell them a reason to why you want your own money. Why?
In Europe, I had trouble withdrawing over 2,000 euros. They wouldn't let me withdraw 2,000 euros. Not that they wouldn't let me. They just said, they advised me against it. They said, if you want to withdraw over 2,000 euros, then it goes up to a higher echelon of manager, and then they need proof and stuff. You're better off just withdrawing less than that amount. So this is
$2,000 is not a lot of money.
2,000 euros is not a lot of money. 2,000 euros is not a lot of money.
Oh, they reckon
there's plenty of hotels where it's 2,000 euros a night, so it's not a lot of money.
They reckon that in Australia, they're running out of 5s, 10s, and 20s because all the ATMs dispense 50s. All of the payments that they make to people, all the unemployment benefits and those sorts of things, get paid in 50s and 100s. So all of that kind of shit is people and people are using cash less and less when they go to pay for things because everything's tap and pay. So they reckon that those lower banknotes are starting to become rarer and rarer.
So should we start collecting?
Interesting.
Start buying those.
Interesting.
We could collect.
Interesting.
If you're going to invest in shit coins, that's a good one.
Yeah, absolutely.
A new shit coin backed by rare banknotes.
Hey, have they come out with the new $5 note yet in Australia? Have they come out with the new $5 note? Don't they have to replace all of our currency in Australia with the king's face instead of the queen's?
Nothing.
They have to replace everything.
Oh, really?
Don't they?
Yeah, I don't know how that works.
Don't they have to have the money on the coin?
Wouldn't it just be on the next run, when they do the next design?
No, man, I want that shit now.
It's yearly, isn't it? Yeah. Whatever you get this year, keep if it's got the queen.
I want that shit now.
Wait. Most of our notes don't even have the queen on them. Remember?
All the
No,
coins
it's
have
just
the,
got
have the
random,
queen
like,
on it,
random
and then
people.
the $5 note has the queen.
Oh, and then the other ones have just got like random people, yeah. Like, as in, not, I'm not saying complete random, but like non-monarchs,
Like
non-royalty.
important Australian figures.
Yeah,
We need
important
Steve
figures of
Irwin on it,
Australia.
mate.
Fuck yeah, that would be fucking dope. Holy shit, that would be so good. Wait, we can make negotiations like this when they come to crypto begging for a bailout, where they're like, our financial system is about to collapse. Please, please, please bail us out. We can make all these ridiculous things. We're like, okay, well, here's the deal. No more corruption, no more fractional reserve banking, and we want Steve Irwin on the motherfucking banknotes. Hundreds. On the hundreds.
Or they'll just put a gun to your head.
But then suddenly I don't have crypto to bail them out anymore.
Lost in the boating accident.
Hey, can I ask a question? Any of you guys watched Peaky Blinders, the show?
Yes.
I couldn't get into it.
I love that show.
Yes.
I'm into
Yeah.
it big time. I love it. And I was looking at the fight card, and it had like George Mann and Jake Lund. I'm like, these guys could be like characters in Peaky Blinders. They just need a flat cap, with the razor blade in it.
Behind the scenes, remember Jake does the tent boxing every now and then too. So there's a bit of Peaky Blinder action there.
Yeah. He still do that kind of stuff, does he?
Yeah, we jump in there every now and then. Still gets around.
Yeah.
Is that bare knuckle?
No, they still wear gloves, but it's just they travel all through the country town, set up the tent, and pretty much the team goes around. They just pick anyone out of the crowd or whoever wants to come out of the crowd and punch on.
Get a bunch of shearers, wanting to hammer it out.
Yeah, and a lot of all the cattle guys, and they're pretty tough. There's blokes out west, man. I'll tell you what.
Mm.
So, yeah, it's still a thing.
And I grew up in a country
Yeah,
town.
Fred Brophy's Dawsey. There you go. Dawsey said it there. Fred Brophy's, I know the guy, Jimmy Shannon, that runs it.
Yep. I think there was a doco done on it. I'm not sure if it's on Netflix or not, but yeah, that was kicking around at one stage.
What, an Aussie one or?
Yeah.
Yeah, right. I'll have to check it out.
Yeah.
That's the guy.
Yeah.
So anything else? Any new? We've heard whispers of 2 more weeks. You want to make a comment on that?
2 more weeks.
It's always
for what?
2 more weeks.
You haven't heard that one?
Heard something about what was it? Remind us, Jex. I did hear some shit about it that there was.
I
heard that the PulseChain devs found a problem in the ETH consensus, and so that they shipped that issue back over to the ETH devs and said, "Yo, you guys need to fix this," and then had to wait for them to fix it, so that, because why would they have or at least asked for it to be a collaborative effort, and it's taken that amount of time, and until that gets fixed, then PulseChain doesn't want to use faulty consensus. So that's only just recently been fixed, I think.
Yeah. So I don't know what. Yeah, you're right. I don't know whether. I don't know the truth of whether that's actually a true
rumor.
Statement. Yeah, rumor. And whether it has been fixed or whether they're waiting on it to be fixed. But the whispers coming back was we've heard it from a few different sources that V3 might not be too far away. But obviously, this is all speculation. We don't know. But that's what's going around the traps, and it seems to be a little bit more. Seems to have a little bit of validity behind it. So
the concrete is setting.
The concrete is setting. Now, just depend. The only thing we don't know is devs are notorious for saying 2 more weeks and it being another year. So the devs may believe that in their mind, and it's slipped out a little bit. But they could still be very, very wrong. But hey, it's a little bit exciting. Maybe just to think that it could be 2 more weeks.
And also a legitimate, because some people were getting quite curious as to what is holding this shit up? What, you know what I mean? So, and that would make a lot of sense, that there would be no point launching a testnet with a faulty consensus that has a problem, right? What's the point in testing something that you know is already
running on? Well, it's already running on mainnet, so.
On ETH mainnet. Well, that's a scary thought, isn't it? Because that's the majority of my net wealth. we laugh about it, but in my mind, I'm like, oh fuck.
Yeah. So, but it's obviously it's not. It might be like an edge case or something like that, and it's
Yeah.
It's obviously still running, and if it's
unlikely to
responsibly
be
disclosed,
exploited.
and so what do we got? So
Going
a
off
couple of
what
comments.
devs have said in the past, we got to take it with a grain of salt.
Yeah.
Really. They might find another bug tomorrow, which delays it longer. So it is what it is.
Yeah.
Got to get that shit right.
So
And the
so
testnet
there's
might
a few
find a bug as well.
There's a few comments in the chat there. So we're hearing this from different sources. So Dorsey saying fiat devs were told to wait a few weeks for V3 to come out before their shit was put on. So rather than launch on current testnet, just hold off. RG said something saying V3 test was showing on Polygon. No, so what that one was related to was if you went to the ICOSA app and you selected a different chain like Polygon or something like that, when you could go back and then choose what network you wanted to be on, V3 was appearing there. But I'm not sure whether that's been there forever or whether that was a new thing. But
yeah, my opinion on that is PulseChain mainnet is also in that list. So it's obviously just a list of chains there going to support. Do you know what I mean? So
no, this was in in the ICOSA app. That was.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. That.
Yeah.
In that list, it's got mainnet and testnet v3 are both listed.
Yeah.
So that kind of negates that idea that it can't.
That's
already
I think that's been there for a long time. Yeah.
Also, can I just mention, related to specifically what you're talking about, I noticed that, with this whole MetaMask thing where most people change their RPC, and I recommend everyone does, to get away from Infura, where it's like effectively Trojanware now. On that website, while I'm on a different RPC for Ethereum mainnet, it doesn't recognize that I'm on the Ethereum mainnet. So it says this network's not supported, even though I'm on ETH. So I don't know if that's a problem that's just happening to me or whether you guys have had that problem as well. I just thought that was a bit odd.
On the ICOSA app you're talking?
Yeah, so on the ICOSA app, if I'm connected to Ethereum mainnet, but with a different RPC, it comes up with that message that you were just talking about where it says, you're not on a supported network. Here are all the supported networks. So I don't know whether it's, and then it won't let me connect. And I obviously haven't, I assume that if I go back to the Infura one, it will work, but I don't want to because it's a docs factory. That was using Cloudflare. So maybe I'll just try a couple of others. I haven't done that yet to try another couple of RPCs.
Yeah, not sure. Maybe just some.
Or you can run your own.
Yeah.
I'm still planning to do that, but I haven't had time. Like I haven't got the hardware yet.
Yeah, you need a nice.
And you don't know, that might still have the same problem, because the problem might be that it's looking specifically for the RPC data. So you know what I mean? Like, so maybe I need to talk to that team and be like, yo, can you guys make it so that it's not looking for a specific RPC? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Or it could be that the node doesn't know where to go and read the chain data from for whatever reason. I don't know why.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Like for some reason, it's not recognizing that I'm on Ethereum mainnet, even though I am on Ethereum mainnet.
Yep.
Is that MetaMask? Did you say that's MetaMask?
ICOSA app using MetaMask on a non-Infura RPC.
Yeah, we still haven't got the killer Web3 wallet yet. I'm waiting for that. Rabby's pretty close, but it falls short on a couple of things. The Aurochs guys, what's his name? Randy's been tweeting out about that a lot. I went and had a look at it. It's still not quite where I want it to be for me to want to switch. It's got a few shortfalls. Primarily, you can't use it. You can use a ledger on it, and that's the only hardware device you can use on it. So that's a bit of a showstopper for a lot of people. So they've still got they've done some really cool things. You can customize your networks and your RPC settings and things like that, which is always a good thing. But yeah, can't connect all your hardware wallets yet, so they need to sort that. I'm surprised that wasn't high on their list to sort out in terms of adoption, but they'll get there. But yeah, I'm all for all these new guys that are bringing new wallets out. And I want to see, has anyone played with KGs? Is that actually live and kicking, or that internet money?
I haven't yet.
Yeah,
Curious.
I haven't had a chance to have a look at it. I don't know what he's
Heard
up
a
to
few
over there.
rumors, so I'm going to wait.
Okay. Yep. No, that's fair. Yeah, man, you don't want to be the first to test all this shit. I'm happy to let other people test this stuff. Yeah. It's got to be at a pretty advanced stage before I'll go hooking up anything of value to new wallets.
Can you guys believe that thing that we talked about at the very start of the show, about those comments about the like SAC HEX OG wallets, they are still talking about it in comments? So they must have been. I just noticed some comments went through, and I'm like, they're still talking about this. So they've been talking about it the entire stream in the comments.
Yeah, I didn't see any for a while, but yeah.
Unless I'm behind on comments or something.
Yeah, I think you might be behind.
Maybe.
Yeah, no, I haven't seen any of that flowing through for a while since we moved on to more exciting things like buying a pound of pot.
Rather buy now.
Just with Flashbots, I think they do log your IP address. So make sure you're using a VPN if you want to obfuscate. Did anyone catch the Twitter Spaces with RH?
I did.
His own Twitter Spaces.
A little bit, not much.
Yeah. I got a little bit of it. The main point that I got out of that is a lot of this yapping that we do is probably a waste of time. I don't know. What do you guys reckon in the chat? Is it a waste of time? I don't know.
Terms of,
I do. I like to come and have a chat with my bros. That's why I do it. So I
think there's arguments on both sides.
I like to feel like I'm a part of the community, man. That's how I like to feel. And by getting on stream with you guys, I feel like I'm part of a community. But the main thing I got out of that is that Richard thinks that the most the best marketing is like that direct mail marketing, where you just you mail people's houses. That's something that they're not yet censoring in any way.
I just can't see that working though. Anything I get in the mail, I just throw in the bin.
Wait,
Unless
43.
it's got my name on it, it's in the bin.
My comment is that you like, if Richard is talking about he's making assumptions like optimum use, but if everyone went and did that, so everyone's doing the exact same shit, then it wouldn't be like, so everyone and like the world's a chaotic place, right? Like, and I mean that in the technical sense of chaos, where you don't know what a stream like this could lead to in terms of like butterfly effect. So I think it's like almost a little bit naive to be saying you guys are wasting your time on Twitter Spaces, you're wasting your time on YouTube, you're wasting your time talking within the same community. Like, I get what he means, that he's saying like he has a belief in what is the optimum use of people's time, effort, and money. But I think he's missing the fact that you only need like this one, like you only need this one butterfly effect to just fucking blow shit up. Like, why would you kind of nuke all of this potential?
The other point is that if you don't have these streams,
let me just finish. So if his broader point is to say, guys, stop pigeonholing into like a single thing, like blowing up Twitter, and try and like spread out a bit, I would agree with that. But to say sports advertising is useless, Twitter Spaces are useless, YouTube's useless, I think that's wording it too strongly. And you know what I mean? So even though he's got his favorite version of advertising,
I agree. I think that like we obviously do a bit of yapping, but if there are no streams, if there is no like spaces, how is a community coming together? Is there a community? So you need. I think that you do need a bit of this, and that's me justifying, our existence here. But I do
don't
believe
think-
I do believe that the direct marketing. I think I agree, Mayo, that maybe people who don't pick up the letter are necessarily just going to go and read it and then immediately go and you know get into it. But what I do think it does is it plants a seed, and it's exactly the same thing that the outrage marketing does. It plants a
100%.
seed so that at some point in future, if it comes up again, then they have that point of reference. It's like, I have heard of that before. Like, where did I hear of that? Like, where have I seen that? And then I think that's where you get a bit more potential. Someone who's open to it. People do need to be open to crypto at some point, or just warm to it before they
It's
decide
also-
to look into it.
I think consistency as well. It doesn't matter what it is, you got to be consistent. So I was just like on my end with the fight stuff. So everyone saw it the first time. It got a few people interested. The second time they see it again, I start getting more interest. Now the third time with this big thing, now it's the branch has just gone. Like there's podcasts there's other people asking us what it is. So and then now Andrew wants to get involved. He's seen someone else get involved. He's seen the podcast guy jump on board with me, and now he wants to jump on board. So they saw it at the start. They didn't pay much attention, but now it's a repetitive thing. It's in their head. They're going, "What is
now
this?"
is now is the time to be paying attention to. So,
I've got one other killer point. If you assume that whatever that hexagon is doing to promote, if you say, well, if they weren't doing that, what would they be doing? If you said, oh, they're not doing a Twitter space, they're not doing a YouTube thing, are they promoting Hex in a different way, or are they just like at the beach, or are they doing some other crypto shit that's not Hex related? So then if you look at those as being the options, then clearly them doing a Hex stream or a Hex spaces is the better option. So and I'm just giving you another example to highlight that some of these things are not quite as, not everyone is spending 100% of their time, effort, and energy and money towards promotion of Hex at all times. So I think it's just, I think he might be looking at it in a little bit of a too simplified way. That this is a more complicated situation than that.
Even another example, like even at my work, have you guys seen my ute? How I've got the on the back window.
On the back, yeah.
So when I first done that, no one paid attention. Obviously, everyone you work with sort of adds you on social media and follows you and talks to you, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
And then they see it non-stop. It might have taken probably 2 months, but after about 2 months, a couple of the big people on site have finally gone and come up to me and gone, "What is that? What is this thing that you're doing?"
Yeah.
And it's worked. Now they're jumping on board. So like, I don't know, just consistency. Doesn't matter what it is, but if people are seeing it and they're going to keep seeing it, they're going to start asking questions eventually.
Yep.
Leaving Australia is actually difficult from a tax perspective. It's not straightforward. They follow you. They want to know. I've heard of stories where people go and live overseas for 10 years, but because they didn't give up their primary place of residence, or they kept a base in Australia, that when they returned, they were liable for international earnings, like being taxed on the international earnings according to the rules, according to the treaties between the two countries. So it's actually not. They're very, very strict on these things. Extremely strict. Like if you've got a self-managed super, you go overseas, you need to come back within 2 years. Otherwise, you're not within the rules. Like it's stipulated that you can't just go for like 5 or 6 years. You need to have a center of management in Australia for a self-managed super. But do your own research. Speak to it.
Actually, one person, just circling back to the RH stream, the Twitter spaces he done, and I think that was the one where Famous jumped on and had a little bit of a chat. I don't know if you guys have been paying attention to him. He's actually a pretty switched on fella, very level headed. Comes from a TradFi background, so he's got a lot of really good things that he can add from his personal business life.
I actually did some stuff with him early on, like a few months ago. Oh, probably 6 months ago. And yeah, man, he knows what he's doing.
Yeah, no, he seems pretty solid, and he was very respectful in the way he done it. But he gave Richard some feedback on the way he's approaching social media and the kind of things he's doing as well. And I've got to agree with Famous on this one. Like, Richard's now getting put in a position where he doesn't have to act the clown and go hard shilling. He's getting in front of an audience where all he's got to do is just impart knowledge in a respectful way, and he will have people follow him and start to listen to him. And I think that's why you're getting why he gets pushback from people like Charles and things like that, is they don't want it to turn into a big shill fest. So I think maybe now he's got to start reading the room a little bit with things like that and switching gears and engaging people.
I agree with that.
Crypto7 said the same thing.
Yeah.
Crypto7's got a marketing background, like a multi-year significant marketing background, and said the exact same thing on his streams.
Yeah. So there's a time and a place, and if you need to be outrageous to drag in eyeballs, time and a place for that. But now he's got the chance to actually be very impactful and be seen as a leader in the space and help sort of unite the space. Like
I think he needs to go back to the old RH now and actually just
So, by the way, Richard agreed to be interviewed by Crypto7 Spaces, and that is absolutely going to be one of the things he's going to talk to Richard Hart about in that interview, is the pivoting away from the outrage marketing, that sort of thing. So yeah, I think it's good.
Guys, I've got a question for you all. Do you want to keep the stream going? Otherwise, I just need to know, because I got to get leave for about 20 minutes.
Yeah,
I'll keep going.
Anyway, no, I have to be out.
I think we've covered most stuff, haven't we?
Yeah.
Yeah. So sorry to the guys in the chat. I know you know.
Well,
I know you want us to
before
keep
we
going.
go, before we go, anyone else about the
let's
chat?
have fun.
Oh yeah, we'll do sign outs for sure.
Mayo, you go, mate.
Have you doing bitch tit tonight or what? That's
we have
this weekend.
We haven't done bitch tits for a while.
Yeah.
Is that
Oh,
the new
they
t-shirt? It's got the diamond on the front.
Cool.
Hang on. Let me just put it. Show it again.
They are super cool.
Show it again.
Do you know what? Do you know what I really like about those t-shirts?
Do you want me to model it?
For streamers.
That's a nice tee.
So there's only
Team
50 available at the moment, and they're going pretty quick for this weekend.
Awesome.
See how I'm wearing a Pulse t-shirt, but you can barely tell, right? Like, because the logo is like down here. Whereas see how on Mayo, the part of you that's typically in the live stream, that is perfect. It's like literally here rather than here. You know what I mean? So for streamers, I think
all interviews and everything, it's always going to be your head pick.
It's It's on the bust. It's like within that. It's within that critical zone. That t-shirt is sick.
Yeah, it's awesome. Tangent. Last words.
I don't have anything. I've said everything I wanted to say. Thanks, but thank you everyone. Thank the audience. Thanks to you guys for hosting, and it's been fun and very excited about the fight.
Jexa?
I don't have too much more inspirational stuff to impart, but I think hopefully the 2 weeks is a real thing this time. It's a little bit closer than further away. We've all been pretty patient. It's been been 18 months now, hasn't it? I think it was July when all this started happening. So everyone's we've had to be pretty calm and collected. I don't think sometimes we've managed to do that. Sometimes it's brought out a few frustrations, but I'm sure all those frustrations will be long forgotten once we see see your main net go live. So hang in there, guys. It's not too far away, hopefully.
Thanks, Jexa. So I'll thank everyone in the chat. We appreciate you guys. You're awesome. Thanks for the participation. Mayo, thanks for coming on and bringing Andrew on.
Hey,
we appreciate
before
that.
we go, everyone like and share and retweet everyone's stuff. Help everyone grow. Work together. Ignore the FUD.
Yep.
That's it. That's it. And
get Mayo's tweet out about the fight. That's going to go around on a lot of eyeballs on the streaming, and you got 1,500 people trapped in a room for the fight. So let's see if we can.
And if you want to watch the Jake Lund fight, Jake Lund is a Hexagon, and if you want to watch him fight on Saturday, demolish George Mann. He's fighting for the Diamond belt, which is a Rise Championship fight. And you can go check it out at that link there, which is risechampionship.com.au/watch-live. And you can pay for it there and watch it on live stream. So, awesome. Go, Jake Lund.
If we get this and he wins this, best birthday present ever for Hex. Diamond belt, third birthday.
Absolutely.
And he gets the invite onto one championship, so we'll be in Singapore with a lot more eyes on us.
There's a lot of significance around the diamond in Hex, isn't there? We've got the world's biggest diamond. Team that up with the diamond belt, diamond hands. It's all coming together.
Absolutely. All right, guys. Thank you very much. Thanks, Mayo. Thanks, Jexa. Thanks, Tangent. We're going to see you guys next week on the stream. And until then,